Linus Tech Tips just took the CompTIA A+, one of the most popular IT certifications, and he kind of slammed it. His takes were spicy, and as a former card-carrying A+ member, I take offense to this. Here's what I think he got wrong. Let's watch the video. And thank you to Dashlane for sponsoring this video and supporting my channel over many years. We'll talk more about them later. Hey, Network Chuck from the future here. While working on this video, something kind of crazy happened. Linus took his video down. And not just on YouTube, on his own video platform, FloatPlane. So I'm thinking CompTIA probably isn't too happy about what he said. Why? You're about to find out. Now, one thing I want to get out of the way right now. If you're working on your A+ certification, if you're studying for it and you're about to take it, at some point in the future, keep going. Yes, it is still worth it. Yes, it's valuable. The A+ certification will look good on your resume if you're just getting started out. So keep going.
Am I worthy to join your ranks?
What the heck is happening there? The A+ cult? Is that what we're doing here? Okay.
Or maybe the more important question is, should he bother to join their ranks? Depending on who you ask, CompTIA's A+ certification is either an essential early milestone in your IT career, or it's an antiquated remnant from before YouTube made learning about technology both easy and free. But until you fork over $500 US, there's no way to know for sure.
Okay, no way to know for sure? Okay, let's break this down. The CompTIA A+ was the first IT certification I ever got. And that's the case for many people getting into IT. This sucker is designed to launch your IT career. You're at the very beginning, you don't know much. The job role you're aiming for is help desk or IT support specialist. And hear me when I say this certification is 100% for beginners. And I always tell people this, it's like an IT buffet. It's not gonna teach you any one technology very deeply. Like you're not gonna walk away an expert in anything. But it will show you a little bit of a lot of things, which in the beginning of your IT career, that's what you need. You may not know what you want to do. Network engineering, system engineering, programming, hacking. And for me, that was the case. I had no idea. I just wanted to be in IT. It looked cool and I needed money. The CompTIA A+ helped with that. It covers a lot, like you see here, almost too much, but it gives you an idea of how big the IT world is. To become A+ certified like I did back in 2012, you'll need to pass 2 exams. Yes, 2. It kind of sucks. The current one is 220-1101 and 220-1102, aka Core 1 and Core 2. And to Linus's point, it's not cheap. Each exam will cost you $253. And trust me, I know that pain. Back when I was just starting out, I had just gotten married, just had my first kid, and we were on food stamps. So paying for this was a big deal. You don't have to wait to fork over this money and take the exam to find out if it's worth it. Let me tell you, it was worth it for me. I didn't know a lot about IT. I was brand new. This certification gave me knowledge and it gave me credentials to land jobs. That's also the case for many, many people I've talked to. Look it up. You can search it. It's out there.
It is almost impossible to find concrete information about the exam itself, but...
What? What is he talking about? First of all, the CompTIA A+ has been around for a long time, longer than me. Information, I mean, okay, they tell you a ton of information on their website. Exam details. This is just a summary, we know this. You can find the exam objectives from a simple Google search, and you can see exactly what they're gonna test you on. I almost feel like Linus is kind of new to the IT certification realm. This is standard.
I've been dabbling in tech for as long as A+ has been around, and I've always kind of wondered, am I worthy? To find out, I decided to put my money where my mouth is. If I pass, I'm certified. But if I fail, there's no free retakes. They don't even offer a discount. My money is just gone, along with my reputation.
You know, that's how most IT certifications work. If you don't pass the test, you don't get it. Okay.
CompTIA is a non-profit lobby and trade organization whose members include pretty much every hardware, software, and services company that you've ever heard of, plus a metric banana load of ones that you haven't. And if their 990 disclosure form is anything to go by, running a non-profit like this can be pretty lucrative. The only thing they won't sell to you, or to anyone, is the actual questions, which makes it a little bit tricky to evaluate whether the test is even valuable in today's fast-changing IT landscape. Now, in the past, maintaining this level of secrecy was relatively easy. CompTIA would run their exams on...
Okay, they're not gonna tell you the questions. Then you could just cheat on the exam. Linus, what is Canadian school like? Oh, I don't get what you're trying to say. Also, there are a ton of practice exams out there that mirror what the CompTIA will test you on. For example, one of my sponsors, Boson XM, they're not sponsoring this video, but I have used them throughout my entire career to study for exams. And their practice exams are very similar in content to what you're gonna see on the exam. This is not a big secret or a mystery.
Locked down workstations in carefully controlled rooms patrolled by humorless human proctors.
proctors.
Nothing went in or out without permission, and if you were foolish enough to share what you'd seen on the test, or heaven forbid, use the bathroom in the middle, you could kiss your certs goodbye.
Okay, it is true that if you share anything about the exam, questions, content, they could revoke your certification. That makes sense. It's not that it's a big secret, they're just trying to ward off cheaters. Also, the bathroom thing, you can go to the bathroom. Now, it does depend on the proctoring location, but I've taken many exams and I was allowed to go to the bathroom.
But, like everyone else, they've had to evolve with the times, and these days, you can take the exam in the comfort of your very own carefully controlled room, monitored by the exam software they put on your computer, and a team of both human and AI proctors that will watch your every physical and digital move. That means no alt-tabbing to your study guide, no gum chewing, and absolutely no screen sharing or recording.
Again, that makes sense. If you've ever taken any exam, IT or not, you have proctors, you can't take certain things in. Seems like Linus has a really big problem with people preventing him from cheating. And also, the taking the test at home thing is amazing. As soon as they released at-home test taking, I jumped on it. Driving to a testing center, kind of the worst. The at-home testing thing is just, I'm a massive fan. I love it.
Well, it's exam time, and
How do you feel?
I'm a little nervous, actually. I don't think I've taken a test in 20 years.
Well, here's your phone.
Okay.
You can't use your actual phone. There's just too much crap on it.
Oh, this is just one to put away.
This is one to put away, so don't worry about
That
the
makes
phone.
sense. I mean, surely, second phone couldn't be a thing, or third phone.
Linus would never cheat.
Apparently he would.
I didn't do any prep going into this because what I want to know is, does the School of Hard Knocks work?
Depends on your experience.
Well, that's the thing. I might be very experienced, but what I've heard about the test is that it can have stuff that's kind of archaic or niche, so you could actually have a ton of experience, but still not score well on it.
Okay, let's talk about the archaic or niche comment. Yes, some things on the exam are old. You know why? Because companies still use old stuff. Not every company is using the latest and greatest technology. So when CompTIA prepares these exams, they're not just, in a silo with just their people going, what do we think? No, they're talking to companies. All those companies Linus mentioned in the beginning of the video that partner and support CompTIA, they're helping to establish these exams. The information in that exam that you're being tested on, that's what these companies are wanting you to know. Now let's go with niche. I think Linus's knowledge is niche. He's constantly playing with the latest and greatest things, and he doesn't have a wide knowledge of everything in IT, at least what's gonna be covered on the exam. So going in relying on just your knowledge through experience might be good, but not having looked at the exam objectives to prepare yourself, that's on you.
Wow, this is quite the setup. And for good reason. They require you to take pictures of your test environment to ensure that you will have absolutely no aids available to you. That means no paper, no pencil, no touchscreen devices of any sort unless they are out of arm's reach, and depending on which documentation you look at, you may or may not even be allowed to have a vessel filled with water.
That's true. There was one exam where they wouldn't let me have coffee or water or anything. Another exam, I had coffee and water with me, which was awesome. That exam I did a lot better because I had coffee.
They use an exam taking software that includes a human proctor who watches to make sure you do not leave the view of the webcam, and they monitor for any software running on your PC to ensure that you are not recording the session, which of course I took as a challenge.
Dude, that's cheating. That's cheating. Why are you admitting that you're cheating? Now, what he's doing here is not novel. And people do this now for exams. That's how you see brain dumps. Now, what's a brain dump? First of all, don't go get it. It's not good for you. But a brain dump is someone who does what Linus is doing, captures all the questions on an exam, and then sells them as a PDF or even part of testing software. So going back to Linus's thing about how there's no information, no one can find it, we're breaking ground, we're blowing this thing wide open. No, dude, there's already brain dumps out there. Everyone knows what's on the CompTIA Plus exam. If you want to find it, it's right there.
Now, we don't want to invite another battle with a large tech organization, so we won't be showing you any of CompTIA's copyrighted materials directly. But with that said, in order to make sure that any examples we come up with are representative, we might have figured out a pretty clever, not to mention nearly undetectable way of recording the entire exam session. The check-in process was pretty straightforward. I verified my identity, gave the human proctor a little tour of the room with my webcam so that they could confirm that I was all by my lonesome and didn't have a stack of A+ study guides just out of frame. Then, once they were satisfied, my crew very quietly slipped some cameras into the space so that you could all watch this.
See, I think what he's doing here is kind of irresponsible. I think he's going to encourage a lot of people to do this, to record their screens, cheat, and possibly get themselves in trouble. And at the best, they're cheating. At the worst, they'll get caught and have their certification revoked.
Right out of the gate, I was freaking out. I don't remember the last time I touched an office-style multi-loader tray printer like this.
My problem with this was the parts you're supposed to talk about could be in either of these locations, depending on who makes the printer.
Which I didn't know, because I don't know where those parts are anyway.
Now seriously, printers are still a thing. In fact, I'm teaching on printers right now. I've got a dot matrix printer, a thermal printer, an inkjet printer, a laser printer, which is, by the way, what this question is talking about. You would replace the fuser and the rollers. I'm actually making training for the CompTIA A+ certification. Why? Are they paying me? No, I'm doing it because I think this is one of the best certifications you can get when you first get started. And you know what? One of your first IT jobs might just be fixing printers. I know it was for me. I remember it's one of my first things that I had to try and figure out was a printer.
I was off to a really bad start.
Okay, this one was actually pretty easy, I thought.
I struggled with this one.
Really?
Yeah, error requesting A4 paper.
Yeah. So what I figured was happening is your user is accidentally printing A4 instead of letter, so you just change the default to letter.
I'm gonna confess, I thought A4 was letter.
That's different.
Oh, well,
A4 is metric, letter is imperial.
I almost certainly got this wrong then. Unless you've studied their materials and you know what they're.
Now that question right there is an example of how, Linus, you're very great technically in a lot of things. But this right here is a basic issue that an IT tech might encounter. And that's what this exam is testing you on.
Their prescribed order of operations is for diagnosis, you are not gonna get this answer correct.
No, this is a have you paid for the training materials check.
Yeah.
Hey, guess what? In the exam objectives, they give you the troubleshooting steps. It's not behind a paywall. Nice try. Also, by the way, you don't have to pay for CompTIA's training materials to study for the exam. In fact, for the longest time, they didn't have any. For example, when I took the exam, I had to buy a third-party book and third-party training. I didn't buy anything from CompTIA but the exam voucher, and that can still be the case for you. In fact, I would not recommend CompTIA's training. I have paid for it. I have gone through it. I think it's very boring. There are better ways to learn IT. You don't have to use their training, but their exam, it's still important. We'll talk more about that here in a minute.
I actually like this question.
Okay. A lot of people forget what factors mean in this context. Factors are different things. A factor is something you have, something you are, something you know. Each of those is a factor. So password and PIN, those are both something you know. One factor. Password and thumbprint, that's two different factors.
Did I get it right?
We'll never know.
What do you mean we'll never know? I thought you screen recorded the exam.
Allegedly.
That still gets me. I hate that they did that. Don't do that if you're watching this. Don't record your screen.
Ready for round two?
I think so, but I don't know what it is. You said that it's a little different?
Yeah, this time you're going to be talking about operating systems, about security, some software troubleshooting,
Okay.
and the very vague operational procedures.
Okay, there was one.
They're not vague. They have all the operational procedures bullet pointed out in their exam objectives. It's actually pretty detailed.
So how do you think he's going to do in round two?
He's not passing it.
You underestimate him.
He's had the Twitter account hacked 3 times.
That's true.
Before we get to part 2 of the exam, I was barely even able to take the exam.
She was going to boot you out, man.
Dude, she did boot me out.
Yeah.
The proctor wouldn't allow me to take the exam because the aspect ratio of my webcam view wasn't right. I think I saw what she was talking about because the next time I went on, it briefly showed my 16:9 with like a black bar in a square box.
Okay.
And then like correct.
Okay, what he's describing can happen. Yeah, every testing experience won't be the same. And you know what? This kind of thing's happened to me before when going into a testing center. I've had issues with my computer. My marker with my wide erase board didn't work. They rarely work, actually. I hate it. But again, this is the nature of any exam you take. What he's describing here is using a company called Pearson VUE, and they proctor many other exams. The CCNA, they proctor AWS exams, Azure exams. It's not just CompTIA. So this is like a universal thing he's describing.
Oh yeah, this was interesting though, like, can you email?
Good timing for this one.
Yeah.
A question on identifying phishing emails.
You could use this a couple months ago.
Yeah, if I had done this test a couple months prior, I actually probably wouldn't have fallen for that.
Yeah.
Just the refresher, never hurts.
Hey, you heard him say it. Just saying.
How can you prevent phishing? Oh, user training.
User training.
Yeah. Back to back on how to prevent phishing
Yeah.
attacks.
They saw you coming.
This one made me so mad. They say botnet attack. A botnet attack is not having an infection on your computer that makes you part of a bot swarm.
No.
A botnet attack is using many to attack a target.
Which is probably a DDoS.
Okay, come on, semantics. You knew enough about the question to answer it.
Okay, this made me extremely angry. What do you mean by least additional expenses and impact on users? It doesn't even say buy it, it says use it. So I don't know if they already have it. Why not use a third-party licensed backup software? That could be the least additional.
Okay, what Linus is encountering here is not unique to CompTIA. You'll see this on many other exams, and they're tricky questions. I wish they didn't have these, so I'll give them that. I hate the questions that are like, what's most true? Other things could be true, but what's the most true thing, according to what I say? Thankfully, there's not a ton of these, but they do happen.
This is whatever the hell your boss tells you to do. That's your next step.
That's fair, yeah, you guys gotta remember, Jordan actually comes from like this space. So
IT? Don't a lot of us come from that space if we're watching Linus's channel? I don't know.
I'm speculating a lot of the time.
Yeah, no, this is, the junior guy does not get to decide this.
But hey, I passed, baby! With all of that out of the way, now that I've taken and passed the test, what do I feel this is worth, other than the shiny pennyworth of dead trees and toner? Well, I think that depends on who you're talking about.
Hey, he passed. Great job. Does that mean that all his experience did help him pass?
For the average consumer looking to learn about fixing computers and IT, honestly, it's a hard no from me.
That's kind of an obvious one. I don't know anyone who's wanting to get their A+ who's just kind of a hobbyist, wanting to fix their PC. Obviously not the case. The CompTIA A+ is for people trying to get a job in IT, not the hobbyist.
Compared to back in 1996, these days there are nearly unlimited resources right at the tip of your fingers. As for on the professional side of things, well, I do question the relevance of actually a lot of the questions. And if I was in charge, I would want to see a lot more questions that force the subject to demonstrate real tech problem-solving skills. But with that said, it's not like my sister would have passed the test, and I definitely see the value in having some kind of certification that demonstrates an above-average level of technical knowledge. I mean, put yourself in the shoes of a hiring manager. You're expected to interview candidates for everything from sales to marketing to IT. You can't be expected to be intimately familiar with everything, and A+ and other certifications guarantee at least some baseline level of knowledge, allowing you to focus more on evaluating a candidate's references or cultural fit. So with that in mind then, if you're a working nerd with a bit of XP but you're looking to pad the old resume, it could help you land the interview, but you should know that your experience and your attitude are probably going to have a bigger impact once you're past that point.
So that I completely agree with. The CompTIA A+ isn't going to make you an amazing IT professional. It's not going to ultimately be the reason you land a job, but it is that thing you put on your resume to get your foot in the door, to get someone's attention. Because if you go to LinkedIn right now, let's go there. Let's take a trip. Actually, we'll go to Indeed because I don't want to show you my login to LinkedIn. I'll type in Dallas because Dallas has a very hot IT market. I searched for nothing. And we'll just search for CompTIA A+. Many jobs. It doesn't tell me, like, it just says 75+. I hate that it does that. Many jobs are looking for CompTIA A+ certified individuals. Let's try another one. Fine, I'll do LinkedIn. 1,100 results just in the DFW area. And that's the value of the A+. Not that it's gonna make you an expert in any one technology or any technology, but putting that certification on your resume gives you a better chance of getting in front of HR. Because to Linus's point, HR, the first level of people that are gonna be looking for candidates, they don't necessarily know about IT. They may just be told by the help desk manager, hey, I need somebody on my team. Look for someone CompTIA A+ certified. That's the easiest way to filter people out. And because the CompTIA A+ has for a long time been the gold standard for that first entry-level certification, people look for it. And that's the value of a certification, the marketability. So whatever you're doing right now, if you're thinking about pursuing an IT certification, that should be your highest priority. Is it marketable? Will it help me land a job? Now, yes, the content of the certification, what you're going to learn is important, but you can learn that on your own. You don't need a certification to tell you what to learn. You can learn anything you want for free without paying $500.
Of course, all of this kind of assumes that somebody who has an A+ certification actually knows the material that's covered by the exam. Well, here's the thing. These are my scores, and while they don't tell you exactly which questions you got wrong or what the correct solutions should have been, they do provide a summary of the subjects that require further study, and boy, is that ever a list. Now, as I mentioned before, I absolutely disagree with the structure and even expected answers of some of the questions. There were clear cases where they wanted a particular answer.
By the way, the passing score, that's average across a lot of certifications. They're not gonna say if you don't get an A+, you don't pass. Also, they cannot tell you the answers.
Now, CompTIA, even though they don't offer a discount on retesting if you fail, they do offer a lower cost path to recertification. And it's kind of cool, you only need to renew your highest level CompTIA cert if you have more than one. But I'd be curious to know how many people out there are regularly renewing their A+, now that it expires after 3 years. The argument for expiry is that it ensures that a technician's skills keep up with the rapid changes in the information technology field, and you can renew at a reduced cost with an 8 to 10 hour e-learning course. But guys, I can't help feeling like it's less about keeping people up to date and more about the extra revenue. My test didn't acknowledge Windows 11 even once, which coincidentally turned 3 years old this month.
Okay, listen. First of all, let's talk about the renewal. You should not renew your A+. That should not be your goal. A+ is the beginning of your IT career. You move on, you learn more. So to Linus's point, you can get higher certifications, higher CompTIA certifications like the Security Plus, Network Plus, Pen Test Plus, the other pluses, and those will automatically renew your A+. But even at that point, once you land that first IT job and you start getting experience, your A+ doesn't really matter anymore. As far as expiration, I think that's a good thing, because if you passed your A+ back in 1993 when it was first established, you're not gonna know anything about Windows 10. And I do agree, the Windows 11 thing, that's weird. They should have a way to update the material. And when I'm teaching concepts in the A+, I often do refer to the stuff they mentioned. So for example, Windows 10, still gotta teach on that, but I jump to Windows 11 and talk about modern things. Good news is that Windows 10, Windows 11, the core concepts, control panel, networking, firewalls, they changed slightly, but not a lot.
So it seems to me that it's the test itself that's having trouble keeping up with rapid changes in the IT field. As for our last group, me, well, I guess I'm glad I did it. I'm kind of stoked that I passed. I've heard A+ described as easy and common sense, but I don't mind being an easy, common sense kind of guy, so I'm gonna enjoy being certified while it lasts. And the while it lasts bit is key, because now that this video's out, I am sure that they're gonna revoke my cert.
So I wanna end this video by answering this question. Should you get the CompTIA A+? Because I'll be honest, it's not for everyone. If you already have a job on the help desk, or you're in some sort of technical role, you're an IT support specialist, or you work on a NOC or a SOC, you probably don't need it. Focusing on learning your job and moving up. Focus on higher level certifications. Get your CCNA. But if you were like me, where I was in a sales job, I was literally selling toilets. And it is as bad as it sounds. And I wasn't making nearly enough to support my family. So I decided to start studying for my CompTIA A+. I would study in between sales calls, on my breaks, and I got my stinking A+, and that was the very beginning of my journey to an amazing IT career. That's how I got here, making videos like this. So if you're brand new to IT, and you're not really sure what you want to do, the CompTIA A+ is fantastic. Also, I want to say this. If you're looking to get your degree, like you want to get a bachelor's degree in IT, the CompTIA A+ is something you want to get. Why? Well, because, oh, check this out. Let me show you. If you go to WGU, a very popular online college, I went there for a bit, never finished. You don't need a degree to be in IT. But if you do want one, let's say you want to get a BS in network engineering and security. Let's look at it. As part of the degree, you'll be getting the CompTIA A+. And here's the thing, if you get your A+ before you start that degree program, you can just automatically transfer your credits in. You don't have to take those classes. In fact, you can do that for a lot of these certifications. Go in here, look at the certifications this degree program requires, and you can skip a lot of schooling. Kind of a little hack there. But seriously, just real talk. I remember cracking open my first A+ book and watching my first A+ training videos, and the feeling of learning something that was actually kind of cool and exciting outside of school as an adult, knowing that it would help me get a career that would support my family, that was awesome. And I can still remember that feeling. Just the optimism, looking forward to something, the sense of accomplishment. And then when I finally got that certification, passing those 2 exams, which for me was hard. Like, it was a hard exam for me. Hard exams. Linus said it was easy, and that makes sense. He's been doing this for a long time. I was brand new. So The reason I made this video and the reason I do any of this is to help you capture that same feeling. The feeling that, hey, I can find an amazing job and support my family, and I don't have to do something crazy boring, soul-sucking. It can be kind of fun. And that's why I have my academy as well, Network Chuck Academy. This is still very, very brand new. But right now, I am creating CompTIA A+ training. Not endorsed by CompTIA or anything. I'm just creating courses that align with what their certification exam is going to test you on so you can get that exam, but also I'm teaching real-world stuff. I'm approaching it in a very real-world way so that when you walk away, whether you take the exam or not, you're going to have some skills. Anyway, that's all I got. I'll catch you guys in the next video.